New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
Hello and welcome to Growing Edge Live. I'm Allie Benjamin, and it is my great joy to be here today. Each Monday morning, we have conversations here at the Growing Edge with individuals that channel their time, their talent, their energy, their resources, their joy, their creativity, their love into doing good work in the world. And today I have a very special guest, and we'll meet her in a minute. But I want to say welcome to you before we bring my friend on. I'm so glad that you are here, whether you're here for the first time or you're back. I know that you didn't get here by accident, that something inside you prompted you to jump online or to click that link, and you're watching here today. And I know there'll be something you hear today, whether it's something that my friend or I share, or maybe it's a feeling you get through listening to two friends share their hearts and share their joy with you. Something will happen inside you that will support you moving forward. Maybe it's a new idea, maybe an insight, maybe a feeling. And that's what we do here today and every week. We inspire creativity and love. So thank you for being here, and thank you to our producer, New Thought Media Network, and to our sponsor, the Satya Center. And you can find out more about us at satyalive.org. So here we go. My friend, my creative partner, my soul sister, Diana Soroka, is my guest today. Diana and I met a few years ago, and we instantly connected. And you may have seen her on a previous episode, but we've never had a deep dive into Diana's life and into her and I's partnership. And so today, that's what we're doing. Diana is a lifelong seeker and teacher. She is the founder of Wild Hearts, and she'll tell us more about that. And she is my creative partner. So Diana, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, Allie.
Me too. Now, we're calling this episode Her Wings Appeared because that's a project that we're working on together. But we've never really heard your story. So why don't we start there? Where did you grow up? What are you interested in? And how did your life get to be the way it is now? And why are you so interested in helping others, coaching others? And why are you interested in co-creating Her Wings Appeared with me? So let's start at the beginning.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I was the oldest child born to a 15-year-old mother. And it was a big family. She had lots of brothers, and they were cowboys in Arizona. And it was lots of fun. And at times it wasn't, of course. But I had lots of adventures, and somehow came out of that with so much courage and confidence. And I'm grateful for that. So that was my childhood. My parents, we went to church, Christian church on special holidays. When we got a little bit older and, or, you know, I'm going to say when we were 7, 8, 9, 10, in those ages, we were sent to church on the bus. That little van would come and pick us up every week. My parents didn't necessarily go. And so while I was very interested and I was a learner, always have been a learner. I learned everything I could. I had questions. I had questions about spirituality and religion. And that kind of started a lifelong journey for me way back then. So a little fast forward to my 20s, I was married young, had 2 children, and my partner and I, my husband and I, we shared curiosity about spirituality, all different types of religions. We studied, we went to garage churches, we went to big churches. So that was kind of a theme in our marriage. It was what held us together, was that love of learning about what is inside and outside, much bigger than us. And we eventually were divorced years later, and I was a single mom then, and I had been going to school for years here and there where I could afford it and when I could make it happen, because we always lived in remote locations because he was a park ranger, which made life exciting too. And so I ended up getting my bachelor's in education and then eventually 2 master's degree in leadership in education or organizations, and 1 in adult education. And which was a big change for my family. And it was a little bit difficult because I was actually the first person in my family to get a high school degree.
Wow.
Right? And so I moved to another small town with my children, and we, all the things that go with being a single parent and trying to make ends meet, and getting a new job as, an educator, a professional job, which all of those things I mentioned, getting my education, being a parent, being a single parent really did. It boosted my confidence because I felt I had to be confident and courageous because I wanted my children to feel secure. And fortunately for me, I had that built in from a young age. So it was very helpful. And I think my kids felt pretty secure as they grew up. We had our moments, but most of the time they felt pretty secure. And that was a great accomplishment for me. But becoming an educator, a teacher on the reservation was my first job.
Wow.
And I learned so much about, the Apache culture, about children, there, about their parents. I had some fun, memorable experiences, and I am still close to several of those kids. And they're not kids anymore. Actually, some of them are grandparents now. Can you believe that? It's so hard. It's like, where did those years go? But and then I went on in my life, being a teacher and becoming a principal, becoming a director for curriculum and different projects. I loved teaching at adults as well. I found that out. I didn't realize how much I would love teaching adults. So I began teaching at some of the universities. And it was kind of fun teaching people who actually really wanted to learn. They were there for a reason. So I continued that after I retired from public school system. And I forgot to mention that through all of this, personal development was huge for me since I was in my 20s, and the reason for that was because there were some parenting habits that my parents had that I did not want to carry on. So I wanted to learn what are best practices for parenting. So I jumped into that in my 20s, and then all my life I've just read everything I could get my hands on and worked on the things that were important to me. You know, when I saw characteristics or habits in myself, when I had big feelings about something that maybe I considered negative, I would dive into them. I wanted to know more. Why am I doing that? I was all about, why do I do the things I do? And why do others do the things they do? That was really important to me. So yes, I jumped into that. And then when I retired about 10 years ago, I created a group called Wild Hearts. And that kind of spurred from a period in my life when I had a lot of loss. Like, it kind of happened one after the other, and it hit me hard. And all of the tools I had in my toolbox to pull myself out of hard times, they weren't working for me. And that's when I kind of also dived into the Enneagram. You and I love the Enneagram tools. And I just started seeing and learning about myself in a different way, and a more honest way. And I learned I think what I learned most from that was how to love myself, be easy on myself, understand myself, that kind of thing. And it was hard, but it was probably the most loving thing I've ever done for myself. But it was also the most challenging, difficult time in my life. But I finally came out on the other side, and that is when I created Wild Hearts. And WILD is an acronym. It means wildly inspired by life's divine dance. And I still love that, because I think that it's true for me and true for many others who see the awe and beauty in everyday life. I've also loved to teach reading and writing. And so I continued my writing, by starting a blog called Wild Hearts on my webpage, which is wildhearts.com. And that's with 2 Ds for divine dance. I've loved it. I just do it because it feels like, by me sharing my story, that at times it helps someone else. I get emails, I get messages from others who said, "Oh my gosh, I got that at just the right moment. Thank you." And that makes me feel so good. It makes me feel like my life matters. And I think that that's really important to so many of us, is to support each other, because every life matters. It's just finding what matters to you. We're all different, right?
That's beautiful. As you were sharing your story, and there's your website on the screen for those of you that are actually watching. I realized that our lives, and this isn't the first time I've had this realization, but we're so similar in so many ways. We both have this great curiosity for life, and why things are the way they are, and why our relationships are working or not working, and how can we improve ourselves so that our relationships are strong and healthy. And so we have that in common. And we also have the work we do with Wild Hearts for You, and all the things that I'm involved in particular this podcast, Growing Edge Live, and my art. I use these things as vehicles to help others, and to bring people together, and to shed light and hope. And it sounds like we're doing the same thing, slightly differently, with different forums, and writing and sharing stories, And so I feel like just hearing your story, not for the first time, but hearing you sharing it today, I'm newly awake in how perfect a match we are to be working together. And we have been studying the Enneagram together for the past few years and have really bonded and connected in that teaching. The Enneagram as a pathway, like a sacred pathway to self-discovery. And it's been so helpful to do it with you, and we have other classmates when we took our course to become licensed or credentialed teachers and coaches. And then we're the same type. We're type 4s, which we're the idealists, the romantics, the artists that can lean towards the melancholy but have deep curiosity and creativity and a love of beauty. And so your story, my story, they slightly different but very similar. And I can really see how that type 4 personality is a very comfortable fit for us. And also that deep sense of spiritual connection that you and I have both found with nature, with all of life, that we're able to harness that energy and that the wisdom that we found along the way and be able to channel that into doing what we do. Yeah. So you grew up with a little bit of religion, same as me, not very much. I would go, my parents wouldn't go, but they'd send me off too, especially on holidays. But there was always a deeper sense of a spiritual connection with something greater. And I know that about you. And so I'd love to dive into that a little bit more. And I know that you have a fun name for the divine. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about your personal spirituality now and how that came about.
Okay. Well, I respect all religions that support people, and keep them healthy in whatever ways, whatever brings the individual peace and love. So I respect that. I am very open to different religions. There's some that speak louder to me than others. And I do have a name that actually my daughter was the one who mentioned this, and I grabbed hold of it because it spoke so directly to me. She called it Gus, for God, universe, and spirit. And it has been my higher, when I speak about my higher power, my divinity, I'm talking with Gus, or Gus is talking with me. And so that's my name for my higher energy and soul connection, for sure. And so yes, I just continue reading. I still do. I still read and learn about different paths to the divine. It's I'm very curious, like we mentioned before, but also I'm driven. I'm compelled to know more. But I also have developed the peace in knowing that that it's okay if I don't know, because I am divine. I am loved. I am love, and that I'll return to where I came, no matter what. So I'm at peace with living and dying because of that. Now, I love to have discussions about it. I like to hear other people's journeys, their stories around spirituality. It's very interesting to me, and I feel like others and like you, I feel like I do have a connection. My soul has a connection to Gus, and sometimes Gus speaks directly to me. I call it, just like everybody else. It's divinity coming through us, giving an intuition. Some people call it. I know it's coming from a higher power when I get it. I just know, and I think you do too. We've talked about this before. It feels so good. And let me tell you about one of those times in particular that happened not that long ago. As you mentioned, you and I have a connection. We just bonded right away. We knew that we were going to be doing something together. We just weren't sure what it was. And we made a pact to meet weekly to talk about the Enneagram, to talk about our personal lives, to talk about spirituality, whatever it was that we wanted to talk about. So we have been speaking with each other weekly for some time. And our friendship has grown. We're connected. We will be connected forever. Like you said, we are soul sisters. We've learned so much from one another and with each other. So we've been, of course, talking about some kind of productivity, something that we would do together, some project. And we weren't quite hitting the nail on the head. We go here, then we go there, and we weren't sure. But one early morning, because that's when Gus likes to bother me, to me. It's usually about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I know who it is, So I listen. I've learned to listen, and this time I knew what you and I were going to do together. And so for years, since I've known you, I have been following your Her Wings Appeared posts on social media. And they're beautiful, beautiful graphics of the goddess, and then some words, sometimes a poem, sometimes just a few words or sentences describing this particular goddess and when or why or how her wings appear. And I love them. And we had never even talked about it together. But they spoke to me. It spoke to me. It resonated. It was deep in my soul. And so that's what came to me that morning was you will write a book with Allie around these Her Wings Appeared stories and graphics and beautiful drawings. And I was so excited about it, I could hardly stand it. And I had to wait a day or so to talk to her because we were both busy. But I finally got to, and in between that time, I'm thinking, well, who do I think I am? This is her thing. This is not mine. This is her baby. She's been growing this for a long time. It came to her years ago. How is this going to come across to Allie? I wasn't sure. And but when I talked with you, you were so open-hearted, open mind, and you jumped on it. I was so surprised because you love the idea. And I said, well, think about it, because there's a lot of implications here. There's a lot of things. She's been working on this a long time. I didn't want to just jump in and say, okay, I'm part of this now. But you were so generous with your, tell us how you felt about all that.
We can, if you're interested in hearing the interview that we did last month, you can find that in the archives. And we talked about about her wings appeared and how that got to be. So I don't want to go too far down that story, but yeah, I've been painting goddesses for years, decades, and using my images to create inspiring memes. And so when you told me that morning that you'd had this aha moment where you thought that we could write a book together, I was so excited because I thought about writing a book, not necessarily using the goddess art or her wings appeared, but writing a book. And whilst that had been a exciting idea, nothing ever came of it. I just could never muster up the energy to figure out how to go about doing that, because I love to do the things I do, which are paint and meditate and think up big ideas for things and do groups and workshops, and I love all that. But to sit down and figure out how to do a book, I thought, no, maybe next lifetime I'll do something like that, but this one I can't. And so when you came to me with the idea, it was like, ta-da! That was a moment my wings appeared, because I'm like, finally, my goddesses and my dream of connecting with women and inspiring women could go in a whole new direction. So I was thrilled.
Yeah, I was too. There was some excitement in the air for well, there still is, for sure. We're still writing, we're still painting and moving forward. And it's a very exciting time for us, because when her wings appeared is that magic moment, that moment when your courage rises above fear.
Yes.
And it's just beautiful moments, and we all have them. We all have them, many of them.
Yes. Yeah, it's not just her wings appeared once and that was it. It's our wings appear throughout the day, throughout our weeks. When we bump up against a challenging situation, or we have to make a difficult decision, or we're tired of doing the same old thing and not getting better results, or we know it's that time where we have to make a different decision, or stand in our truth, or assert a boundary. And it's all of these types of things that we're calling moments where her wings appear. Those moments when we rise above the typical way of doing something, or facing the fear that we have and rising above it, like you said. And so this project that we're doing is focusing on those moments and creating, bringing stories and examples and some insights around how to see those moments and how to lean into those moments with more of your natural ability and creativity. And so, yeah, that's basically what we're talking about when we use that term.
Yeah, and I think that it's really important to remember that, yes, there are some really big moments, something that just made a drastic change to your life, but there are hundreds of small moments that make a difference. And saying no to something that you no longer need, want, or does not serve you in any way, or sometimes saying yes, that courage to yes for that job, or yes to that situation, or yes to that book, or whatever it is. There are these tiny moments that make a difference, and they liberate you somehow. They liberate you and give you a little bit more confidence to say yes or to say no in the future.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we're right at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to take a really short break, and we'll be right back.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
And we're back with Diana talking about Her Wings Appeared, this beautiful partnership that we have together and creating something truly special and magical. And we have so many ideas and we're just scratching the surface. I'd love it if you would describe what being a creative collaborator with me feels like. What is that for us, for you?
I think it is a lot of things. One is just there's trust. There's trust that we can talk to each other about anything and make it through anything. So communicating is very important for us. And if one or the other has any concern, that we can feel okay or good about talking with the other, because we know that each other has open hearts, open minds, and that we can work through anything. I think that's the biggest part. The other is just trusting and knowing each other's talents, skills, knowing how to divide things because of that, what comes natural for each of us. And that feels really good because we can count on each other to do some of the things. Like if I had to paint or design a cover or paint any kind of illustrations, that would stress me out completely. And Allie is a good writer. She's a really good writer. But her strength and love, her passion is painting. So it works really well, I think, just that. And knowing that we have a very similar heart. our heart, the reason we're here, our whys are very similar. Why we're here, why we're giving effort and time to this project is that we are compelled. Something in us, Gus is in there, compelling us to share our gifts, the gifts we have. And it is scary. It's scary. This is us stretching our wings a bit, for sure. When we're done, we have the hope that we're going to say, that was her wings appeared moment. And I already know it already is just getting this far, just saying yes. And our hope is that they're going to stretch out so wide and beautiful that that's going to be a moment that we look back with and know that that's a life-changing moment for us too.
Yeah, for sure. So our book, our project, would you like to share what it actually is? I mean, we've talked about a book, we've talked about art, we've talked about inspiring women, and can you share a little bit more about what actually we're going to be manifesting or creating and where we are in our timeline with all of that?
Yes, sure. So we are, Ali is busy painting goddesses that are aligned with chapters that we've chosen. There'll be 9 chapters. And I am busy writing. We've also decided to include 9 guest writers who will anchor each chapter with her wings appeared stories. And so each chapter will probably have 3 to 5 stories, and there'll be a theme for each chapter, and we'll have guest writers, which I think is exciting to have some different viewpoints. And then Ali will have a painting of a goddess that will intertwine with the stories to help all of us to feel the stories and to envision them in a kind of a different way, because it's not often that we actually see ourselves as goddesses. So hope is that when you're done reading, you will be inspired, like Ali said, but you'll also see the goddess in you, feel the goddess in you, and resonate with each other, all of us, because there are so many similarities to us in the world about what we experience, how we feel, what we think.
Yeah.
So this is the hope, is just another beautiful way to bring us all together. And it's a gift book. It's a wonderful book to give to your mother, your daughters, your sisters, your friends. It's just a beautiful, lovely book to share.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the moment we're receiving lots of submissions, women sharing their stories with us, and I must say it feels like this has been easy. Like once we sort of connected with this idea of creating a book, it seemed like, sometimes when you're working on a project, and we know this because we worked together for about 1.5 years, and whilst we had lots of great conversations and good ideas, nothing really clicked. And it was like each week we'd have maybe a new idea, and it just didn't seem to grow legs or wings. And so this idea that we have to do this project came up a couple of months ago, and ever since then it seems like everything is clicking into place. It's like the universe has like, we've picked up on the universal energy, or it's like the universe is reciprocating in our, matching our energy, and the enthusiasm we have is matched with other people's enthusiasm as we share this project with others and invite people to write an anchor story for each chapter. It feels like our excitement, our invitation has been met or heard differently, or in a way that sparks something in the other that makes them say yes. It's like this big, it's yes energy, it's creative energy. I'm a very, kinesthetic person. I feel energy, and this feels different, and I'm seeing that mirrored back by the people that I talk to, and that have been sending in their stories. How about you?
With what's my question? With
About the ease of this,
yeah.
like how the energy is shifted, and how something, it feels different, and this is, for a creative, and we're both creatives, I feel that this is like our fuel, and so I think it's helpful to give some voice to it or explain it a bit, because I know, as someone that loves to create, and I think of creation as bringing the invisible into form, and you can think of that with painting or writing or creating music. Artists bring the invisible, meaning ideas, imagination, feelings, into something tangible, and it feels like that's what we're doing. And this energy that's been cultivated since you had that great idea, that's what I'm talking about. It's something that is different.
Yes.
Than,
yeah.
like, it's a higher vibration.
Yeah. Yes, and it's clarity. It's like,
yes,
I can see now. The clouds have moved out of the way. I can see clearly now. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and
I
you've
agree
been
with you.
writing so many stories, and you share your writing with me, and I share my writing with you, and my art with you, and so there's a lot of momentum also that's being built, with these ideas as they come into form. And so what are you feeling and learning through your creative process, through the stories that you've been writing, the stories you've been reading, and the ones that you're still, what I call, in the dream cauldron, stirring that imaginal realm?
I will say that I feel inspired by everyone. Like we've been through a lot, and we've overcome a lot, and we've learned lessons, made different choices, like you mentioned before, and moved forward. We took action. And the other thing I noticed is that in many of my own stories, the thing that was so scary, I had so much fear that what's that word I'm looking for? I couldn't move. I was
Frozen.
Yes. And I was so fearful. Whenever I finally got the courage to take action, to do something different, the world did not fall apart. There was, nothing exploded. No, it moved forward. It was like it was what I was supposed to do in the first place, but somehow I had let some preconceived idea, fear, barrier get in the way. And whenever I was able just to stand my ground on whatever it was, no matter what it was, things that move, just like us. You said the ease of moving forward. This was meant to be whatever it was, these stories, this climatical point where we chose differently and took the action, everything changed. And I'm always thinking, why didn't I do that before? Why was I so scared? But yet I still occasionally do that. I still will have some fear. Probably this book is a big fear for me too, just saying we're going to write a book and then putting it out there on social media with our friends, with our family, with our groups, and saying we're going to write a book. And it feels very exciting and wonderful, but there's also this little pit in my stomach. What if no one likes it? What if it doesn't, convey what we want it to convey? There's all those little things, but we're making a different choice. We're doing something that takes courage to overcome the barrier of fear. And I'm excited about it, but also, like we said, a little scared.
Yeah, we're doing it afraid. We've come up against our growth edge or our growing edge, and we're taking that step forward into the unknown, and it feels liberating. And I think that all of us face these kinds of fears, these moments, especially with our loved ones, or with choice around money or our health. There's so many situations where we face a tough decision and we do it differently. And that's what's happening here. And that's what these stories that we'll be sharing in this book will help, bring to life, so that people can have that mental equivalent and see that, oh, she did it.
Right.
Maybe I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
when you picture someone a few months from now actually sitting there reading our book, Her Wings Appeared, what do you see happening inside that woman? What do you hope is happening for that woman?
Just like you just said, that someone will look at it and think that there's someone else who's going through something similar, or if they can do it, I can do it. Because it's true. If we can do it, they can do it. Or I have been motivated by many people that way. I hope that it warms their heart. It makes them feel like they're not alone. It helps them to see that there's very real possibility that they can move through whatever challenge that they're facing. And that there's community to support them and love them, and with it, love them with that big open heart and that big open mind that doesn't judge. And that's where I'm striving to be. And it's not always easy, but it's who I want to be. So I work hard at it. And everyone in our groups is doing the same thing. We're supporting each other as we move through life, and all of its joys and challenges, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, when you were sharing that, I was thinking we're all limited by our own stories, especially the negative ones. And there's one of our viewers said, this is how it feels when it's all coming together. It is. And it can be scary.
Yeah.
And we are creating a group of stories of women that can support one another in seeing our story in their story, and knowing that together we are strong, and together we can rise up, and together we can create beautiful things. And so I'm hoping that the women that hold the book in their hands that young girl. I'm imagining my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, holding her grandmother's book and realizing that, wow, my grandmother struggled. Women that have come before me had fears and uncertainties. Diana, and you deserve a break. Stories.
Sorry about that.
And they can keep us stuck, or they can be faced. They can be leaned into, and we can stretch our wings alone, and we can stretch them together. I remember this song. I think I won't mention the artist in case I'm wrong, but it's the words are, "We are all angels that only have one wing. We need each other to fly." Oh. And when I hear that song, when I think of that song, I think of you and I coming together. And I don't really believe we only have one wing, but it's an analogy for partnering up, for coming together, for sharing good ideas, for building trust, and leaning into another, and combining strengths and talents. And together, in that way, we can rise, or we're stronger. And so I'm really, really looking forward to not only continuing to do the creative work, to write my own story, because I decided this morning that I know what I'm going to be writing about, because I've already contributed poems and insights into what Her Wings Appeared means, but I wasn't really sure if I was ready to share a story. Or I'm always ready to share a story, but I hadn't landed on one. And now I know what it is. It's simple, it's relatable, and that's all of our stories in this book will be simple. They'll be relatable. They might be sad, they might be happy, they might be something you're unfamiliar with, they might be something you're very familiar with, but they're stories that will absolutely create change. They'll cause us to stretch. So what else would you like to share with the people? Because this isn't our only project. We're thinking of doing other books moving forward, and collecting more friends and more stories, and giving more platforms for people to share. So What would you say for those that are interested in what we're doing?
I would tell them to stay tuned, because we'll be talking about it more. Also, I would say that just this week, it is Monday, November 17th. If you have an idea and want to be part of our guest writers pool that we're going to be choosing from, this week only, so till Friday, we will accept. Well, let's say this. Just email us at info@wildhearts. That's WILDD Hearts, HEARTS.com, and let us know that you're interested, and we will send you all the criteria, all the information you need to know to be part of it. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
so if you're interested, get that. Just send an email that says, "I'm interested," will you, and I'll send you all our materials so that you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's awesome. I noticed just after the show started today that we got a submission. One of the women has sent in her story, and I mean there was a couple that came in this morning, by the way, and this was the second one, and it's so exciting to feel the excitement from women of all ages that want to share their story. For many, it's the first time that they've ever really considered. Like, what do I have to share? Or what possibly could I share that would be helpful? And just our invitation out to the many women, well, not that many women, a few women that we've shared this invitation with, it's been really wonderful to see them, this invitation help them clarify their thoughts about those moments in their life that they came to an edge and they did something differently, or they had a breakthrough of some kind, and so I'm already feeling like the success or the satisfaction or the gratification of the shift, the little shifts that are taking place for women as they are seen, as they're invited in, as they're given an opportunity to share themselves. And that, for me, that's like fuel for my soul, to know that a woman is taking a new path, doing something for herself, taking a moment to realize the growth or the goodness or the things that have made a difference for them, and want to share that. That, to me, is inspiring.
Yes. Also, I'd just like to mention too that the completed story is not due until January 6th. So if you want to participate, but you're thinking there's no way I can write my story this week, no fears. That won't be due for another month and a half. And also, we're planning to publish sometime this spring. So,
yeah,
very exciting news.
Very exciting. Well, we've come to the end of our time here together, Diana. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'm so glad that you came on, that we had this opportunity to talk about Wild Hearts, for our viewers to get to know you and our story of Her Wings Appeared. And we'll be back next month with another update. And I'm looking forward to that. So thank you, Diana, very much.
I loved every minute of it. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
And you have a wonderful day as well.
Yeah. And to all of our viewers, I'm so glad that you're here. And thank you for being here. Don't forget to come back next Monday. And please like and follow and subscribe and send us your email with your story idea. And we'd love to consider it for our new book, Her Wings Appeared. Mwah. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth, to live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge.